Thus we have in the final analysis mind, meaning or equaling to electric energy, positive force, the creator. God, equaling to or meaning centrifugal energy, director, creator. The sun, as in the sky, centripetal energy, sun, as in relative, created, negative, Christ, awakened soul, conscious individuality, immortality, the soul, the Christ, the Son of God, the Son of Ra, the sons of the rays of the cross, the sons of light. When we are able to mentally break away from the fascination and delusions of the carnal, when we begin to long for a free heart, purified desires, and exalted soul, then the seed is planted. This is the conception. As we begin to manifest kindness, fairness, generosity, justice, and other virtues, we are preparing and looking forward to the coming birth, the coming forth of the Christus within the stable, that is, the place where the animals or passions dwell. Just as the three ancient wise men or magi, worshippers of the sun or sun, were led across the deserts and seas, so will our mentality and personal self come to bow in reverence and thanksgiving before the babe, the newly born or awakened soul, the Savior to be not only of ourselves, but of mankind as well. We recognize the lowliness of the habitation of this flesh, the manger in Bethlehem, the lying in place of the passions in the flesh. At the feet of this newly born child, the newly conscious soul, we lay our choicest gifts. All that is of mind, spirit, and body, each to perform its individual duty. We refuse to further recognize the illusions governing kings and princes. The body and mind can no longer cause us to do those things which we have the power to destroy the Holy Child, the Christus just born within us. We also may attain to all that the Nazarene is said to have become. Within him was the seed of the immortals. Within him was born the Son of God. Within him, grown into maturity, was the Savior of the world, his world. And as he was lifted up, so were other men lifted up by to him. He was born a woman, as are all men. He, Jesus, the son of Joseph, the carpenter, was a creature of flesh, blood, and bone, even as are we. He was conceived under the human laws of creation, subject to temptations, sorrows, and sufferings, the lot of all men. But he quickly learned a lesson so very few do, that he was more than flesh and blood, that within him dwelt, though as yet asleep, another being, a God in embryo. He became aware of the divine spark within, and that this spark might be brought into individualization or consciousness. Jesus, as are all men, was mortally born, but he proceeded to bring forth within himself the divine counterpart of the Father, his own immortal soul. It is written that when the thoughts of man turn to things material, he hungers, thereby recognizing that in God only, the spiritual, exists the eternal, the lasting, the immortal, while the mortal man can only continually receive material necessities and personal attention. The Nazarene was most wise. When thoughts of power over other kingdoms of earth began to awaken within his mind, he also realized that only in God is lasting power to be found. He cast from himself all earthly ambitions, the desire for domination. The results of this self-denial are clearly stated in, quote, "And the devil desires for glory and aggrandizement," end quote, "leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him." After self-denial will come those lasting spiritual rewards, the due of all who master the self. When false ideas and unworthy desires are torn from the heart, when the illusions of the senses and carnal self are transmuted, then may full soul illumination follow. The Christos, or cosmic self within man, awakens and conscious individuality is attained. The temptation on the mount comes to all who would achieve. All would be well if mankind follow the Nazarene's example and deny the desires of the carnal self. During his ministry, the Nazarene did not separate himself as one sanctified, holy, and apart from other men. He made no claims for himself. It is written that he said, quote, "Thou, Father, in me, and I in thee, and they in us." End quote. They were those who had learned to know the Father, who had succeeded in awakening the soul within, and had attained to conscious individuality. The Nazarene never taught a law, never gave utterance to an edict, which other men were unable to follow. Had he done so, it would have nullified his entire ministry. The laws he taught and endeavored to establish throughout his ministry were not his own, nor had they been enacted by the great lawgiver specifically for his purpose. They had always existed. The Nazarene merely restated them in language which all men might comprehend and obey. He merely reaffirmed their existence in order to impress them the more strongly upon the minds of his followers. Moreover, he did not separate himself from other men even in the works he performed, but definitely stated, quote, "The works I do are of God, and the words which ye hear are not mine, but of the Father who sent me." End quote. And again, quote, "Greater works than these that I do, ye may do also." End quote. All that he attempted to do was to instruct the people in the domain and operation of the divine law, God's law, the laws of which he came to represent and manifest. The Nazarene was human. He experienced all the things that the rest of humanity must pass through during their sojourn on this earth of ours. He was tempted by the same forces, by the lure and attraction of the senses, the almost irresistible passions of the carnal self, but understanding the way and wherefore, he was conscious of that which we fail to comprehend, that the senses are false gods that lead us to our own destruction. Overcoming these passions does not signify that we may not also enjoy all that we possess or gain, but that these things must be used wisely and rightly. To subject the senses to the reason of righteousness and purity makes us all the more capable of enjoying all that is desirable and for our welfare. So long as we are slaves to the sensation, we are not our own master. To become the master, we must boldly face and overcome all things that would lead us astray. We have every right to love, it is our divine duty to do so. But we must not permit ourselves to become the slave to that which we love, nor allow impure thoughts or degrading desires to enter. We are privileged to enjoy to the full all that is good and constructive, but we must refuse to be submerged in or subjugated by the longings of the carnal senses. There is a right use, just as there is a wrong use for all things that exist. Our duty is to choose what is right and not permit ourselves to be led astray even by the most powerful impulse or the strongest desire. After all is said, and try to shift the responsibility as we may, it remains a fact that we are our own saviors. We must become the creators of our own immortal being. It is our privilege to become as a little child, innocent and full of faith. and learn the mysteries that have dumbfounded the wisest of philosophers. We have the privilege to open our eyes and see unveiled the Holy of Holies of the Most High and to pray, worship before the altar within the sanctuary.